All right, Castle Rock, episode 8, Past Perfect. Now, this is an episode that I was expecting, because especially even with the previously on showing Henry and all that and the schisma, I was like, all right, so this is going to start with Henry. And it's like, oh no, it's going to start with this couple that Molly sold the Warden Lacey's house to that I never thought I'd see again for some reason. So they popped up and I was like, wait, whoa, what the hell is going on here? And so we find out that his wife was cheating on him and he got fired from his job for attacking the man that she was having an affair with. They are now moving to Castle Rock to start their life anew. She's trying to come on to him. She's trying to get this relationship jump-started again. They buy that house and they're trying to turn it into a murder hotel, an exhibit for people to come and stay in. Make it like a little murder freaking theme park there in town, just with the jaded history. And so this couple comes and they are clearly having an affair, seeing as how they can't get their dates in tandem. They're 13 years and 2 years or something. So there's like clearly they're having an affair, and he's listening to them have sex very loudly at night. I don't know why he would stay at a bed and breakfast and screw loudly. I mean, these people can hear you when they're in the house, so that's just really scummy to do. But they're having an affair, so they're not the greatest of people. And this, because of the, what's going on in the house, the voices or the command of the boy. Lacey has painted all of these paintings of the boy, and so he hangs them up all around the house. And he stares at one, and I don't know if it's talking to him or if it's compelling him or whatever. But, and of course, as I said, like his wife just cheated on him. This is like a hard reminder of this, which he's still clearly not over. And so he goes in there and he butchers them both. And the wife comes in and you think like, okay, is he going to kill her? What's going to happen here? Is she going to hurt him? And no, his wife's, I think this was almost like all right, we're even. I don't know if the house has anything to do with it, with her, if it's talking to her at all, or if she was like, all right, I cheated, you killed a couple people, we're square. Can we get back to our relationship now? And Jackie comes over, and they couldn't have acted more guilty. I mean, the whole reason that she ends up killing this dude is because she comes back to check him out, because she says, yes, I was snooping, but they were acting, suspicious, and they were, which, they're not killers, so they're not prepared for this. This came out of nowhere. So it makes sense that they would be acting so odd because they're so mentally on. There's things that have happened to me, and no matter how much I try to ignore them, I can't help but wear it all over my face and all. We all have had that thing, but I've never like murdered someone or had my lover murder someone and tried to be covering up the bodies, and the body parts are laying right in front of this person who could expose us. So I can only imagine it would be very, very difficult, especially for people who are not murderers, to try to keep a straight face. But they should have tried harder, I suppose. But Jackie is very like, I guess it's like a hotel, right? It's like it's an inn, so she just walks herself in. When she first did that, I was like, whoa, this is their house. And then I'm like, oh wait, this is like a bed and breakfast. So I guess it kind of makes sense. But she comes over to try to negotiate a deal, which we actually have at our salon with a couple hotels in town. So I understand that. I've done it myself. Then we kind of move on back to Henry, and we finally get onto that story. And so Molly is getting projected these images, and she realizes where she's at, and he's getting some images of the past or whatever, and she's getting images in this of the future, maybe, or maybe it's the past. Bloody knife, and she's bloody on the ground and out, and I don't know when that's supposed to happen, or if it's happened or whatnot. And let's see, we got, I forgot to mention the guy's name was Gordon, the guy who owns the house and killed the family. And when the paintings, as I saw it, were compelling him to kill, I just kept screaming, "Do it, Gordon!" in my head. Anybody familiar with Session 9 will understand why I found that to be pretty funny. I love that movie. If you haven't seen Session 9, you're really into like slow burn, psychological horror. Absolutely check that one out. It's not talked about anywhere near enough. I also thought it was kind of interesting that in Molly's flashback, it has to be a flashback, the kid is screaming like no or something along those lines. So I'm not sure what that was all about, but this episode kind of leans in a direction making me wonder how closely connected Henry and the boy are, almost to the point where I have to question if they're one and the same, or if they crossed consciousnesses or something, because we see that when he finds that painting of him, he's wearing the same shirt that Henry was back in 1991 when he went missing. Like, they're wearing the same outfit, and he still looks the same as he did 27 years ago. So, and he says he was waiting for him, and he also says, "I saved you." So that was, I mean, God, there's so many ways that could be taken. Let's take on. So she comes and she takes him out, and they go to leave, and he's like, he asks about this guy. Did you see him? And we see that he is dead. Now he has that like little thing, that little ice pick maybe, or whatever the hell the thing is, stuck through his eye. Now in the last 2 episodes ago, he went to go stick that in Willie, right? Isn't that his name? Culkin's character. He went to go deafen him, enlighten him, or whatever. So it's possible it was him. I mean, I guess it could have been Molly. She killed that dude's dad, so Henry's dad. I shouldn't say that dude. But I don't think that's the way it's going to go. I mean, with that kid missing and the fact that he went out there to like stick him in the ear, and now he's got it through the eye. I don't know. Or maybe he stuck him in the ears, and right after he did, that kid heard the voice telling him to kill Odin or what. I mean, there's so many different ways that could go, but I just saw that guy, and it's such a quick, it's like 2 seconds. You see the guy's dead, and you're like, okay, I need to know what's going on there. But yet again, like, this show just loves to ignore things that have been set up previously in the last episode, or even in the last scene, where it's like, all right, now we're going to get big answers. Now we're going to get something. And it's just like, when he went into that schisma, I was just like, when he comes out, man, we're going to hear something. We're going to thump. No. Although he does ask her if she was there too. And that could mean one of 2 things. That could mean, were you in my head? And did you see what I saw? Because that's what brought you here, which is kind of what he outright says. But it also could be taken in the sense of like, were you there in those memories? Like, were you with me? Were you part of that? So, I don't know. I don't know if that's what it was. I think I'm stretching a little bit there. I really just think he means like, were you in my mind? Because that's how you found me. But I don't know. And then, yeah, as I said, doing the boy line of like, I rescued you from that basement. That line is big. And the fact that he's wearing the same shirt as him, I mean, we're starting to get major clues now. And as I kind of already have my big guess there. Somehow Henry and the boy are linked in a way that they are one and the same. Of some way. Like, Henry was the boy and they switched, or like he saved him, but Molly, as we get the huge reveal at the end of this, this is that's where you died. So at some point she died, and the boy was kidnapped. He hasn't aged, but he had the same clothes on as Henry. I mean, it's oh, Jesus Christ, man. So many theories that could come from that. And I'm losing freaking sight of my notes here because I'm just kind of going all over the place. Wendell comes back. I guess he spent the night out, and then Henry takes him to the bus stop and is like, here, go. And Henry's like pleading with him, like, come on, man. Like, he's pissed. My grandmother has dementia, and in one day she told me more about you than you have in my entire life combined. Like, okay, you want to prove it to me? Then come with me. And Henry's like, no. So he gets on the bus, Wendell gets on the bus, leaves town, and then he starts to hear. He starts to hear the noise, the ringing in his ears that his dad did. So, and this is right after a bird hits the car, so he's starting to get his dad's traits. So he's passed it down, whatever. And then Henry goes to leave town, and he jumps off the bus. I'm guessing the voice was probably telling him, like, no, don't leave, or if he was hearing the voice clearly or not. I don't know if he was compelled, but he got off like 22 miles outside of it in the night, so he's got to trek it back. I think that's an accurate number, but I could be wrong on that. And then, yeah, I mean, the boy also says, I didn't ask for any of this. So that implies that this kid has some consciousness of what happened previously and that he wasn't asking for it. So he's not some just all-powerful demonic force. Like, I didn't ask for any of this means that he is there against his desires. He doesn't want to be there. He never asked to be there. So that takes away that he's just death or something like that. I've seen a lot of claims like that, like he's the devil or he's the... No, the devil wouldn't say anything like that. So this was a person at one point, and some of him, if not all of him, is still in there, and he was broken. I mean, they ask him at the beginning of this show, what's your name? Henry Deaver. He says it straight out. That's the first thing he says. Yes, it's then played off like that's who he's asking for. But it is the very first thing that I think we ever hear this kid say. What's your name? Henry Deaver. Maybe he is. I mean, maybe he told us outright, right at the beginning of this fucking show, exactly who he was. And so yeah, Henry comes in, breaks into this guy's house, goes down into his basement. He goes around, knocks, like, supposedly he doesn't, and he goes around, he breaks into the basement, looks at the stuff, goes upstairs, sees the painting of the shirt and all that, and then comes in, the guy's like, what the hell are you doing in here? I knock, and then they get in a skirmish because his wife comes up and stabs him in the back, which is the bloody knife, right, from Molly's vision, but she's not a part of that. She's not laying on the ground, so, but there is a bloody knife just like that. I don't think it's the same one. I don't think it's the same scene, but there is a bloody knife in this. It's pulled out of Henry's back. They fight. The chick gets her own, she cuts her own jugular, which would be easy to do if you don't know how to use a knife and you're in a skirmish like that. Hell yeah, you can easily do that. Then him and the dude are fighting downstairs, pulled outside. Gordon, do it, Gordon. And she comes through and she puts an axe in his head. Now, is it a felling axe or is it a fireman's axe? That would have been really funny and ironic if she felled him with a fireman's axe too, because of the whole thing where she was saying the mannequin didn't have the right accent, and he's like, your axes. I don't know. It would have been ironic. I don't think it is. It looked like the same axe, a felling axe. But I just thought that was kind of funny when she hit him with the axe. I was like, yeah, I guess she does know her axes. And then this cop earlier says, like, you are Black Death. That was your old name, and you end up at the crime scenes and all this. And I completely understand where she's coming from. Like, this guy comes back to town. Guy shoots up the place, and he's in the building. He's right there when he gets killed. And then this, Sheriff Pangborn, who's been a huge name in the town forever, dies in his house, and he's found with the body. And now at the end of this guy's attacking him, and Jackie Torrance comes up and pops an axe in his fucking head. So, yeah, at this point, he would be prime suspect number one for pretty much damn anything. And somehow the boy knows Molly. And he says something like, when he's in her room, like, I've been here before. And it reminds me of that scene back when Henry was in her room and he was looking out the window at his dad across the way. And he was, like, clenching his fist and all of that. And I know Henry has, like, no memory before that. So it's possible that, like, there was like a schism or something, and it like split them into two separate alternate realities. And there's also another scene in this where the mom is calling, and I forgot to mention this. His mom's calling. Ruth is calling. He talks to somebody. It's somewhere in my notes, but let me try to go off memory here. He's on the phone, and she's saying something like, is Alan dead for real. Where the fuck is it in my notes? Damn. Yeah, she calls and she talks to him. Is Alan still alive? I want to say it's like in this reality or something along those lines, which I think that just kind of further goes to that she's somehow living in she's kind of coming in and out of time, and she has alternate realities, and she's like, is this the reality where Alan's dead, or am I in a different one? Because she's just the dementia, I think, is a byproduct of this moving around in the space-time continuum, that she's moving in between different realms and whatnot. I think that as she continues to keep doing it, as she's aging or she's losing sight of it or whatever, something's tearing her apart, and she just doesn't know which one she's involved in anymore. Can't believe I can't find this in my notes. It's really annoying me because I just want to read exactly what it says, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, is Pangborn alive or dead this time? There it is. This time. This time. I mean, specifically this time. So she's killed him before, or he's died before, or he's been saved before, or whatever. So is Alan dead this time? I mean, it could be taken other ways. Like maybe he's, she doesn't remember, her dementia's this and that, but it's super quick. It happens in a flash. It's like 1 second. It's on the phone. You can barely hear it. But yeah, this time, absolutely. Anyways, sorry I couldn't find my notes there. But yeah, I think that's about it. I think I have enough theories there to last me until the next episode. I'm really curious, obviously, to see where this heads next. We only got 2 episodes left. Jesus. But I know not to get my hopes up with answers. I know better after being a Lost fan and all that to be like, oh, season 1's going to close out and it's all going to be answered. That isn't going to happen. Okay? We're going to be left with bigger questions at the end of season 1. I guarantee it, especially since this episode, or this season, series, Jesus, it has been renewed for a second season. So they know that they're going into a second season. So this is going to end on a major mind fuck. Like, oh, great. Now we really don't know. And I'm sure that'll piss a lot of people off. But as long as some of these are answered, as long as something big. But what Molly, how she died, she died back in the day. I think I talked enough about that, so I'm not going to ramble anymore. But obviously, what are your thoughts? What was your biggest moment? I think, Henry or Molly getting told that she died. I mean, they saved that for the last for a fucking reason. I was like, what? So, yeah, thoughts, theories, all that. What I missed, what I'm wrong on, hit me with it. And until next week, I was supposed to get this done early. I was supposed to get this done yesterday, like usual, but as usual, life got in the way. All right, guys, until next week, adios.